Hygiene's first overseas military base. We have details of all these stories and more coming up, including business, sports, entertainment. Stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. And our first story for this bulletin, based on health, we go to the Pantang, where workers of the Pantang Psychiatric Hospital are embarking on a demonstration to show their displeasure with the latest takeover of the hospital lands by private developers. The workers, numbering about 700, marched from the hospital premises to the Adentan barrier and back to the hospital premises, waiting on the health minister. So let's go live and hear what Asiedu-Dartey, my colleague who has been following this story, has been saying.
This morning, I've gone around all the service points, and I can say that for those who came in, we've taken care of them. So that is what it is.
Well, I want to find out what management has been doing since, they started last, they threatened on Friday till now. What has management been doing?
On Friday, I was at the ministries. I also went to the Mental Health Authority, all in an attempt to try to get some leadership at the ministry to come over to join me, to dialogue with the staff, to return to work. Unfortunately, on Friday, I couldn't find anyone to come. The only person I was able to talk to was the Director of Administration at the Ministry of Health, who promised to pass on the information to the others. On Monday morning, I was able to get the Mental Health Authority CEO to come to support me to address our staff. And the good thing is we were able to get them back to work on that day, but with the condition that before the end of the day, they were going to hear from us. Unfortunately, after meeting with them, we went to the ministry and the minister wasn't in the office. But he sent a PRO to come, and then later in the day, we spoke to him. On Tuesday, we were still able to get our staff to see some cases. And we got information from the minister that today he was coming to visit and then address our concerns. So this morning, I've been going around trying to get service to run to an extent and wait for minister. So that is what it is. Well, I woke up in the morning and I realized that my car had been broken into and ransacked. So I called the police and they've come to see, and I'm sure they're going to investigate it. No. Thank you.
So we will stay on issues relating to health, and scores of School of Hygiene graduates besieged the premises of the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to demand immediate employment. The aggrieved protesters said they would remain at the ministries until their request is granted.
Scores of angry School of Hygiene graduates stormed the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to demand their postings after several attempts to resolve their grievance elapsed. The graduates say their protest has become necessary because all previous attempts to get government to post them to health facilities have proven futile. According to the protesters, the government has betrayed their trust by granting financial clearance to the coalition of unemployed nurses at their expense.
I completed school since 2011. Last year we had the postings, but 32 of us were affected. Yes. Since last year August, they promised us that we will post it up to date. We did follow up. Anytime we are in the local government, they will tell us that they don't have issue with us again. We should go to the finance. We did follow up to date. Imagine being in the house good 6 years. Our colleagues are in the field working. They've even started taking their money, and we are still in the house. So without the postings today, we are not moving an inch.
They maintained they are since spending the night at the ministry to drum home their concerns. Spokesman for the group, Osman Gaddafi, said they are no more going to take promises from authorities.
We have badges ranging as early as 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2015. We want posting.
There was, however, some confusion over whether the School of Hygiene falls under Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development or Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. The aggrieved graduates have resolved to picket till all 365 members are given clearance.
All right, you're welcome back. Let's go to one of our headline stories that we're looking at for you. And it has to do with issues relating to the death penalty. And you know that here in Ghana, we are also, at least by law, expected to carry out the death penalty. But that has been expunged from our statute books. But although that is in place, we still have quite a number of people on death row here in Ghana. And I would want to just put a few figures across. But these are countries that at least implement the death penalty, or what they call, some call it capital punishment or corporal punishment. So China is first on the list, followed by the United States of America, Pakistan, Iran, North Korea, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Indonesia, Iraq, Bangladesh. Majority of them are Asian countries, but then you can tell that first two, China and the United States, seem to lead the pack of countries that practice the death penalty. Out of the 58 countries that still uphold the death penalty, 527 people were executed in 23 countries as of 2010. As of 2010. And still on that figure, I would want to just put a few key pointers across, because what we know for certain is that there has not been an execution in Ghana since 1993. Yet at the end of 2016, about 144 men and 4 women were languishing in the country's prisons who were on death row. Now, as of 2017, an Amnesty International report established that majority of the persons who were on death row in Ghana's prisons now have not been able to appeal against their conviction and death sentences. The report further said conditions of prisons in Ghana are quite substandard, not helpful. Actually, doesn't help to reform the persons who are in the prisons. And I would be exploring this issue a while longer when we get joined in studio by someone who has been following issues regarding death penalty for some years now. I would be able to help us put in perspective why countries that intend to fight the death penalty are unable to win this fight. But then what other remedies could there be to ensure that we deal with this issue? We deal with this issue decisively. All right. So when we return from this quick breather, we will be interrogating this issue. At least Ghana, we know, has got quite a number of people on death row. But are we ever going to be able to undertake that? Because our statute books abhor it and we do not intend to implement. So the people who are on death row, that 144 men and 4 women, what then happens to them? Do we leave them in prisons to rot? Or there are other possible ways of getting them out of prison? We'll explore this issue a while longer or further when we return. Stay with us.
I just got an HD combo decoder from StarTimes.
Cool! StarTimes HD combo decoder.
StarTimes is giving away free decoders to all new subscribers. Simply prepay 2-month Super Bouquet subscription and get an HD combo decoder for free. Get yours now at all StarTimes dealer shops and enjoy the best entertainment from over 100 international and local channels. StarTimes, change your...
In news Anchor with style
and professionalism.
must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to.
Someone you can bond with. And with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are. That's who we are.
Everything you need to know. Captivating. Reliable. Credible and breaking news. All at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com.
The death penalty. And you would recall that Amnesty International in its latest research indicated that here in Ghana, as of 1993, between 1993 and now, we've not had any executions as a result of the death penalty. But as of 2016, we had 144 men and 4 women who are in Ghana's prisons who have been sentenced to death or are supposed to die. That's the bottom line. And a 2017 Amnesty International report has established that majority of the death row of persons on death row in Ghana's prisons have not been able to appeal their convictions and death sentences. Now, the report further indicated that the conditions in Ghana's prisons, or for these prisoners in Ghana's prisons, are quite substandard, not helpful for their reformation. That is, if even they are there to be reformed. So we would want to explore this issue further. We've been joined in studio by Sabrina Mathani. She is a researcher with Amnesty International West Africa region, and we are going to be putting a few questions to her with regard to how then are we going to be dealing with these persons in Ghana's prisons who are on death row. So they have appealed and are not making any headway. In the first place, good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Okay, what can we do? I mean, would you want to congratulate Ghana for at least abolishing the death row? And if yes, what about those who are still on the death row here in Ghana?
Unfortunately, Ghana has not abolished the death penalty, and that's something we really hope will happen. The Constitutional Review Commission did state in 2011 and recommended that Ghana should abolish the death penalty, which was very promising, but no headway has been made since then. And so, you know, no Anglophone West African country has abolished the death penalty. Ghana is a country of many firsts. First independence, first UN Secretary General. We hope it will be the first country in Anglophone West Africa to lead the way in abolition.
Okay, now, at least, but we should still get a tap on the back for not undertaking any such execution since 1993. And in that process, it is also increasing the number of people we have on death row but are not being executed. What would the advice from Amnesty International be?
Absolutely, it's really concerning that the death row prison population continues to increase. The death penalty is mandatory for murder, so a judge has no ability to look into the offence and to kind of give any other kind of sentence. There's 148 people on death row, and although Ghana is not executing, which is very positive, for men and women on death row, it's excruciating for them. Many of them told me that they can't sleep at night. They keep fearing if a new government comes to power, they might be executed. 62 prisoners on death row have been there for more than 5 years. So this sort of mental anguish is very evident if you speak to any person on death row in Ghana. And
across the West African sub-region, clearly, like you mentioned, Anglophone countries are not undertaking, have not abolished it, but at least we cannot recall the most recent time that such a penalty has been implemented. How would you advise governments to handle issues about someone who has committed a crime for which the person should die?
Really, Amnesty International is calling for the death penalty to be abolished, for all people on death row for their sentences to be commuted, and for the death penalty to be replaced with terms of life imprisonment. And of course there will need to be a discussion in Ghana about how they want to go about it. But many other countries across the world, including in West Africa, Guinea for example is one of the latest, have abolished the death penalty and have found suitable alternatives. It's very concerning in Ghana that, you know, many of the death row prisoners we spoke to did not have adequate legal representation. Many of them had lawyers lawyers provided by the legal aid scheme, but they said they didn't turn up or they asked for money. Only 1 in 4 prisoners in Ghana on death row have been able to appeal.
Okay.
Now that's a very shocking statistic when you think about how important it is to have the right to appeal, particularly when you have the ultimate sentence, which is the death penalty. And the prison service told us that since 2006, only 12 prisoners have been able to appeal. But out of those 12, 6 were released. That just shows you how fundamental it is to have an appeal. So we're really calling on the government not only to abolish the death penalty, which is obviously the first thing we would like them to do, but to provide legal aid for prisoners in Ghana who are on the death row to have their right to appeal.
And still on that tangent, would it then be that if these prisoners appeal and they do not make any headway, government should reconsider and convert the death sentence to life imprisonment? Would that be a more reasonable sentence?
Certainly, we're definitely calling on the government to commute the sentences of people on death row to life imprisonment. Okay.
Now, the concern has also been that key countries that practice the death penalty or still uphold the death penalty, top on the list is the United States of America, followed by China, and quite a number of Asian countries, Saudi Arabia and the rest. How has your campaign been, globally in this fight against the death penalty?
It's a great question because this year marks 40 years since Amnesty International started campaigning on the death penalty, and we're a global movement of 7 million people. And since then, we've seen 105 countries have come to abolish the death penalty. So that's
105?
105 countries now
have abolished it.
Have abolished the death penalty. So we're calling on Ghana to join the growing move towards abolition.
6th country, maybe.
We would love that. That would be wonderful. So we have seen a lot of progress in those 40 years. And that's really positive. And I think it's important to state that although I'm here talking to you and I'm from our regional office in Senegal, we have an Amnesty International Ghana who has been campaigning and working on this for many years. So this is not an international issue, it's a Ghanaian issue. Today at our press conference, the Catholic Bishops Confederation was there and they're calling for the abolition, many legal aid organizations. So I just want to say that this is definitely a Ghanaian issue, not just an international issue.
Right, and I would like to stay international for my last question, which has to do with the fact that you have major participation from the United States of America, for instance, but that is one of the countries that is still practicing the death penalty. There are those who are saying that you may not be directly involved with the United States in terms of activity, but they are a country that helps the Amnesty International campaign. How come your effort does not seem to be making headway in the United States, because they are still killing people by the death penalty?
Amnesty International campaigns for abolition of the death penalty across the world. So in Ghana, but also, yes, the United States is one of those countries. And although it is certainly a shame that we've not seen abolition, but there have been incremental changes, that there have been many decisions that say that juveniles cannot be sentenced to death, these sorts of aspects. And we're seeing a gradual withdrawal, at least in the US as well. It's not such a wide practice. But wouldn't it be wonderful for Ghana to lead the way and to teach the US an example around abolition? I think that would be really fantastic.
At least there are legitimate reasons why they think these people should be executed by death, no?
I think the US is a good example of how the death penalty is not a deterrence to crime. The US has had the death penalty for many years, and we see crime in the US skyrocketing. So I think that's a good example of actually why the death penalty is not necessary. All it is a cruel, inhuman and degrading punishment. And as the Ghanaian Constitutional Review Commission said, to take one life to honor another, it doesn't bring any good to humanity. And I think those are kind of the sentiments that we should think about when we think about the death penalty.
All right, thank you for your thoughts and insight on this particular story. We've been speaking with Sabrina Mathani. She is a researcher with Amnesty International West Africa and helping us understand the need for Ghana to join in the abolition of the death penalty. We'll see whether the Constitution Review Commission's proposal will be implemented. Thank you very much, ma'am, and we wish you all the best. This is still Midday Live on TV3. We'll shift our attention to some other stories now. And the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, John Peter Amewu, has called for investigations into the reasons why former minister in that particular office, that is Inusaf Hussaini, left a secret recording device in his office. This comes after the former minister admitted and took responsibility for the gadget in the office of the Land and Natural Resources Minister.
Inspection by the national security officials led to the retrieval of a camera, a storage unit, and what is suspected to be a transmitter. Reports indicate the device was fixed behind a picture frame of Ghana's coat of arms.
I understand the former minister, Enusa, came out to say that he placed it there, and under what conditions, circumstances he did that.
John Peter Amewu is calling for a probe into the reason the former minister, Inusaf Hussaini, left the equipment in the office.
Meanwhile, the former Land and Natural Resources Minister, Inusaf Hussaini, has revealed that the recording device found in his office, in his former office that is, was just a gift to him, and that it was not recording. In an interview on 3FM, he said someone working with a private security company presented the equipment to him at a time concerns were being raised about his personal security in the wake of his fight against illegal mining.
Yes, but we never even activated it. The installation was not complete. So when I was leaving, I left it there because it was not being used. So I just thought that the coat of arms must add to the decoration of the office. The device was not working. Personal properties that we don't take away. I mean, there are many things that we sometimes leave, especially when it's part of the office. It's not working. If it were working, the national security, when they did the first sweep, they would have picked it. The transponders would have reacted. But it's not working. Because, that time I had started the fight against Galamsey. I was advised by security to leave my residence at Chado and move into government residence. Kumbo had been shot. There were many things that clearly were happening, and then I needed to know who was coming to my office and who was leaving and all this.
Meanwhile, a cybersecurity expert who spoke to us on News at 10 last night indicated that he is very much aware that such devices, which they call as low-key or low-spec devices, are able to transmit information, both audio and visual, without a battery or without an external storage device for months, and was saying that it is very likely what the minister was saying is an untruth and may not be aware of the capacity of that device.
Not recording, as the minister has said, the former minister to say. So it comes in various formats that it can transmit even without a battery. It can transmit data to someone else or at a remote location, probably even outside Ghana, for years without it being powered by any other thing. So such low-cost devices, as we call them, it can be very dangerous to say. We cannot say that an investigation has to be done to the detail of what exactly is transmitting or possibly transmitting, if it's actually working or not. But the possibility is that it can actually go further than this. It's really serious.
Well, the story we played earlier mentioned that
yes,
the device as it was did not have a memory card in it. Yeah. That does not mean anything, does it?
It doesn't mean anything. It does not need a memory card to read. There's so many devices that are out there which can transmit data without a memory card because they're not storing the data onto a memory card or on-site. They're storing the data off-site, which is sent into another location. This is what we've seen in so many places. We're doing some of my consultancy that I've seen in we've seen in cyber espionage. Whereby a friendly gift that has been given to you could actually be recording your voice in the background, could be recording video, could be recording anything, or can actually be used to transmit some sort of malware or data to computers.
All right, so that is Dr. Bright Maudo. He spoke to us yesterday from Kenya about this device and said that without an internal memory or even electricity or power, it can still record. So it means that the former Lands and Natural Resources Minister was totally oblivious of what he had gotten himself into. We've been joined in studio by Mr. Emmanuel Coating. He's the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Security, Cyber Security.
Security
and Counterterrorism. All right, to start with, there are those who are asking that what should have been the initial role of the current administration when they took office? Should it have been that as part of their security measures, they check every major government installation before even going ahead with appointments?
Thank you, and good afternoon to your very cherished viewers. In fact, by standard security practice, that should have been the case. And it sort of exposes the way we treat security in this country. And unfortunately, our security arrangements, substandard equipment, and I can speak on authority to certain jurisdictions, like in Europe, they use Tetra. You remember the war on Ebola? They hacked all the other security penetration, but with Tetra they couldn't. The Americans use Astro. And in Africa, some countries that even look up to Ghana are using some of this equipment. Why are we not investing in them?
Is it that the state security does not know about this, do not have the capacity to undertake these kinds of sweeping and checking devices? Or, because I
think the equipment they have probably were not able to detect some of these things. Probably they are not powerful enough. They are substandard.
Do they even go sweeping maybe the Flagstaff House? They will check every office, the various ministries, they will check every office to ensure that no such devices. I mean, does it ever come up in a...
Look, on authority, and I spoke with the Minister for National Security, Kandapa. I know I'm somebody who have been so critical of him given the vigilante group statement he made. But you see, he brought back something that was practiced under the ex-President Kufuor's regime, where every week they sweep all government security installations to make sure that there are no any gadgets eavesdropping into conversations that should not be made public. And look, I just want to use this platform to appeal to the government of Nana Akufo-Addo. They need to take security of this country very serious. Look at the Flagstaff House. It's naked.
What do you mean naked?
Go into the Flagstaff House, and it breaks my heart as a security analyst that a country like Ghana, everybody look up to us. There are a lot of various security breaches, even at the Flagstaff House. Look at the presidential jet. It's naked. We don't have any defense mechanism against it. So just imagine that the president is airborne, there's any attack. We have no any mechanism to protect that.
How do you know this? Because I am not sure that our state security apparatus would endanger the life of our president and the leadership of the country in an aircraft that is not security, is not security tight, especially in the seat of government.
When I'm talking about security, I'm talking about certain equipment that can be mounted on the plane to preempt any form of attack. And I am challenging the security apparatus. If there are any form of such installation, they should come out and prove me wrong.
Let's bring the discussion down to that recording device. Do you think that the former minister, Inus Afuseni, be called by the BNI, who say they are investigating the issue, this development, to interrogate him? Should he be invited for questioning?
Yes, I spoke with one of your sister stations yesterday at 3 FM, and I alluded to the fact that he's a very credible suspect. The BNI should look at options of inviting him. Because look, his office is not a private property. And he's even admitting some of these things to me is just a diversionary tactics. It's two things here. It's either there's some external collaborators with internal ones who are trying to bring the office of that minister down, or even the government. If you look at many government that fell, you remember the famous Watergate in the US, it was through these leaks. So the former minister is a prime suspect, and I think he's not above the law, and the BNI should, as a matter of agency, invite him to seek questions. He said a friend gave him that device. He mentioned the friend's name as Haruna. What about the other names? The minority leader, Honorable Haruna, probably he might be referring to. I don't know. So they should dig in, and we have to ask questions about certain things here. Such devices, how do they come into the country? What does the law say about them? Okay. You cannot just wake up and import anything into this country and we allow things to happen. Otherwise, nobody is safe.
He should be called as a prime suspect to be queried, to be interrogated.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, I would have to leave it here for now. Certainly in the coming days, we'll hear what government has to say about this, but the investigation certainly is underway. We've been speaking with Emmanuel Koting. He is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism, and on that issue, we would want to shift our attention to one other major concern that we are monitoring for you. That has to do with the Ministry of Interior. That is Ambrose Derry. Now, he says the recent developments across the world in the area of migration and global security call for an innovation and proactive approach to migration management. He charged Ghana Immigration Service to adopt a comprehensive policy to ensure that the service delivered is effective and also to their mandate.
The objective of the Ghana Immigration Service is basically to regulate and monitor the entry, residence, employment and exit of all foreigners in Ghana, as well as the movement of Ghanaians into and out of the country. According to the Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, some West African countries are confronted with what has been described by some as incessant terrorist attacks. He noted, in the midst of these challenges and threats, there are several opportunities for economic advancement that could be harnessed by the country.
Ghana has become an increasingly desirable investment and travel destination. Accordingly, the Ghana Immigration Service must deliver on its mandate. The quality of this council is a boost to the capacity of the Ghana Immigration Service to make good its mandate.
At the inauguration of the newly appointed members of the Ghana Immigration Service Council in Accra, the Sector Minister Ambrose Derry stressed the need for members of the council to adopt a comprehensive and cooperative strategic approach in dealing with matters affecting the service mandate. He emphasized the council has a stake in ensuring the full implementation of the new Immigration Service Act 2016, Act 908, and the Immigration Service Regulations 2016, LI 2245.
Expectations of you are great. We know the quality that you have. Your introduction has convinced us that you are the right pedigree of members that we need.
The chairman of the Ghana Immigration Service Council, Edward Prempe, promised they will discharge their duties effectively to ensure they deliver on their mandate.
All right, this is still Midday Live on TV3. Let's shift our attention to National Service. And that is going to be starting later this year. That's in September, actually. But registration has begun. Now, the 2017-2018 National Service personnel will now be able to print their appointment letters online and begin processes for their postings. Prospective service persons can now also log on to the NSS website to print their appointment letters. Or actually, there's also a short code that they can text to get that information. And we've been joined in studio by the Head of Public Relations for the National Service Secretariat or the scheme, Mr. Ambrose Nchiwa Jr. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
And to start with, how many in all are to undertake the 2017-2018 National Service scheme? Or is that an agenda project, right? Yes. How many in all?
Yeah, so far we've posted over 91,000. It's 91,871. We have a little over 1,000 more to post. These are people who registered late.
Okay.
And for our brothers and sisters who also schooled outside this country who came in late. You know, the academic calendars of these countries are different from ours, so they came in late. And we have arrangements for them to register even when we close registration. So they will be posted in a matter of a week or two maximum. Okay. And I'm saying that, but still people are still registering. So maybe by next week or next 2 weeks we'll finish and we'll get the final number. But as I said, we have so far posted 91,871.
About 91,000. Yes. Is that an increment from previous years?
Oh, yes. Last year we posted close to 70,000, and so you're talking about over 20,000 extra. So that is a huge number, and of course also huge budget on government.
Would you be able to tell what's accounting for the increase? And has it been a consistent increase over the years?
Yes. We started from somewhere around 2000. Around 1973, when we had only 3 universities at a time. And then we moved on to about 6,000, 6,900, we went to 12,000, 15,000. I remember we had 25,000 at one time, 45,000, 55,000.
Wow.
And then we moved to 75,000 and now 91,000. I don't know, I'm sure by next year we'll be hitting 100,000. So every year we have the numbers growing. But then the question as to what is accounting for this, we have a number of private institutions coming up, and more people also enrolling onto the university programs. People want to acquire degrees and all that. And the law says that you would be posted after your tertiary education. So all those who are now going to school will have to come and add up. So that is what is accounting for the numbers. Yes.
Let's look at the introduction of the texting of to a short code. What information do you have to text to that short code, and what information comes back to you?
No, it's just a simple text to #714#77 star. Sorry, star 714 star 77 hash.
Okay.
So when you text, the information will just come automatically. It is designed to make it easier for national service personnel to access places of postings. Hitherto, people would have to wait for the posting to be put online. So you go to our website and access your posting. But there's always the anxiety, the euphoria surrounding the posting itself.
Service postings.
So we decided to introduce this so everybody would feel comfortable in the comfort of your home, on your bed, in your kitchen, wherever you can just text. And realize that having done that, it has eased that tension a bit. So what is left is for people to now go and print out the appointment letters and then wait for Monday, 17th of July to start the registration process. Yeah.
My last 2 questions. One would be, we are told that a specific number is now going to be focusing on the government's agenda of planting for jobs. What has necessitated this? Why would you want to give, is it special attention you are giving to it, the planting for jobs project by government?
You remember that His Excellency the President actually came in with this idea, this vision of planting for food and jobs policy. Now, if we talk about that one, you are talking about agriculture. The National Service is known for its agricultural program, so why not? We took advantage of that policy, had a number of talks with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the minister himself and all that. So we decided to post some people into that area. We've posted over, so far, 2,160. That means 10 to each district. And they're going to support that program. It's a new model we have added to the existing ones, i.e. the urban traffic, urban sanitation, education. We have our own traditional agriculture programs where we have our farms, where we have posted service personnel to go and assist in this area. So we are taking advantage, and we hope that by the close of the service year, these young people posted that will show more interest in agriculture, and to serve as a pilot to encourage more people next year
into agriculture. Okay, I actually have run out of time, but then I wanted to be sure the service persons watching us, salary allowances is very prime for them. What is the assurance that they will get it?
No, they don't have a problem. No, they don't have a problem at all. We have had our budget approved by Parliament. We are paying them 559.04. We started from April this year. So we have budget approved up to December. They don't have any problem. What is important is to go through the process of registration properly. Give us the e-switch number so that we can pay you at the end of the month.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambrose Nchiwa. He is the head of public relations for the National Service Secretariat, helping us understand the postings, which is going to be effective September. This is still Midday Live on TV3. Now, a 35-year-old police officer, Corporal Ebenezer Ochre, has shot himself dead at Tafo, a suburb of Kumasi. The unfortunate incident occurred around 7:30 Wednesday morning. A girlfriend of the late corporal said that the officer decided to take his own life shortly after receiving a phone call. The girlfriend, who is currently in police custody, claimed that she tried to persuade the corporal to reverse his decision, but he threatened to shoot her if she does not move out of the room. Shortly after she left the room to seek help from neighbors around, the late officer took his gun and shot himself. Details of this story will be coming to you in our subsequent bulletin, but let's watch this.
Bibi pom na ya dwen se car tie na apaya na tebisa.
We were indoors when we heard a loud noise. We all assumed a car tire had burst. We later were told a police officer had shot himself. He is a very friendly neighbor.
Respect. We give that much respect. Incident in this year, police for divisional commander and other commanders they have been here. We are very sort of that.
Well, you heard him. Currently, the girlfriend or the fiancée of the late Corporal Otri is in the custody of the police to assist in investigation because she was the one with him when the incident happened, and his body has currently been sent to the Konfanochi mode. We've made effort to speak to the police administration, but they are yet to respond. They say they will address the media in a jiffy. They want to confirm the incident from the family of the deceased before they go ahead and speak with the media. So as and when we get an update, we will be updating our viewers in our subsequent bulletin. From Tafo, I am Ibrahim Abubakar.
All right, so details of this story will also be on our website, 3news.com. We'll be back shortly with the latest in the world of business. Stay with us.
Decoder from Star Times.
Cool. Star Times HD combo decoder. Star Times is giving away free decoders to all new subscribers. Simply prepay 2-month Super Bouquet subscription and get an HD combo decoder for free. Get yours now at all Star Times dealer shops and enjoy the best entertainment from over 100 international and local channels. Star Times, change your...
Weekends are a bit like several-hour days put into one for our sport-loving fans. Several top matches, top-level competitions, various sporting disciplines that have been spread across. It can get a bit confusing, but no more because of our new show, Warm Up. What would you do with over £200,000? You can't imagine, right? That is what your favorite footballer, Cristiano Ronaldo, earns per week. Now, let me show you this. That is one of the world's most expensive, a Cognizant CCXR Trevetta Floyd Mayweather. He cruises into his gym with this. Now, would you like a tour to the Baby Jet Mansion? The Basilica is what it's called. Your Saturday mornings just got better. Join me, Thierry from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on TV3 and 3FM for more juicy information on your sports personalities and what they'll be doing when they're not kicking for fame and glory.
Warm Up shows every Saturday at 10 a.m. Make a date on TV3 and is brought to you by
MTN. Everywhere you go. Solak Herbal Mixture. The business segment is brought to you by
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the business news. My name is Pa Kwesi Asari. Now, in our very first story, students in the agricultural colleges nationwide have given government 2 weeks to restore their allowances or risk picketing at the Ministry of Agriculture. While addressing the news conference in Accra, the Students' Union also pleaded with government to recruit them in its Planting for Food program.
About cancellation of the allowance since 2014 and pleaded with government to restore it.
The training allowances, as a matter of urgency, should be fully restored to help the students go through their training successfully. There should be a necessary improvement of the deployable infrastructure existing in the various colleges.
They were also worried that most of the equipment for academic work in their schools have broken down, affecting field work, and urged government to help revive the equipment.
The broken down and outmoded tractors and other machinery in the colleges should be replaced because they are all very necessary in the training of the students. Avenues should be explored to absorb the few graduates who successfully complete the college's programs.
But the student body lauded government's effort for recruiting 1,000 extension officers for its Planting for Food program. It pleaded that those recruited should be properly motivated to help sustain the policy.
In other news, the Trades Union Congress has proposed to government not to extend the International Monetary Fund agreement or risk being unable to create jobs promised Ghanaians, while the Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yauba, noted policies by the International Monetary Fund have resulted in capping of wages and freeze of employment in the public sector.
Was emphatic the IMF-sponsored programs have already worsened the plight of workers. Although he agreed to the need to support government to increase productivity, he pleaded that government should not extend the IMF agreement.
IMF agreements by nature are not friendly to job creation. They are austerity, and austerity means that you have to cut, and cut. That's what it means, including cutting social spending. And then they come with nice indicators, and they think they've got their job done. That is not how we want this government to create jobs. You can't create jobs with these austerity measures.
Dr. Yauba again pleaded with government to lift the ban on employment in the public sector.
What we expect government to do is to, defreeze this whole employment in the public service. Let's see where we get the most benefits, and let's employ people there. We need more police officers. We need to give them proper incentives. We need more doctors. We need more nurses. We need more teachers. We need more other health workers.
On Galamsey, the TUC boss lauded efforts by the media and the government to sustaining the fight. He is of the view a more comprehensive and strategic alliance with law enforcement agencies would assist government to win the fight.
We have also been quite successful in the campaign against HIV. So we have brought the infections down to quite a minimum level. Galamsey, we can do it. And once we are done with Galamsey, I think we should go on to other things like malaria prevention and so on, in the same spirit.
Meanwhile, the Secretary General has called on government to deal with agencies who abuse the rights of workers.
Well, that's all for the very latest in the world of business. My name is Asiedu-Dartey. Join us again on News 360 for our very latest update also in the world of business. Up next is sports.
The sports segment is brought to you by
Hi, my name is Yao Fosulab. It's time now to do sports. And on to our first story. Tension is brewing at the premises of the Ghana Football Association following a reported clash on Tuesday between President Kwesi Nyantakyi and his vice, George Afriyie, during a meeting to sack the latter from his position. The Ghana FA boss is reported to have summoned an emergency meeting on Tuesday announcing his decisions to sack Afriyie from his position as vice president, insisting he cannot work with the Ochiman Planners president again. Nyantakyi is alleged to have questioned the loyalty of Afriyie on several counts, resulting in the former firing damaging remarks in response, impugning, among others, that Nyantakyi is a greedy man. Afriyie, who also doubles as the chairman for the Black Stars Management Committee, is alleged to have gone berserk following Nyantakyi's decision and told the CAF vice president to take his football association as Afriyie, is not interested again. According to SportsObama.com sources, the Ghana FA boss, who is serving a third successive term in office, has informed the other FA bigwigs present to arrange an emergency executive committee meeting next week, where he will appoint a new vice president for the federation. Now to our next story, where the Ghana Premier League enters week 22 with midweek fixtures across all league centres this afternoon. Now, with 8 matches to end the season, there's a race for the title and pressure on the bottom place teams to avoid the drop. Buoyed by their result on March Day 21 against Mediama SC in Kumasi, Asante Kotoko are set to face 6th place Inter-Allies at the Elwak Sports Stadium. Kotoko are just 5 points off the top now after an impressive run under coach Steve Pollack, and will look to continue that string of good results against Inter-Allies. Their rivals, Accra Hearts of Oak, have not had a good time lately. The Phobians have not won in 2, and the results have in turn affected their place on the league log. They take on Brekum Chelsea at the Accra Sports Stadium with hopes of beating them to spur them up for the Super Clash on Sunday. In other matches this afternoon, Bolga All-Stars will take on Ashanti Gold. Bolga All-Stars have the worst run in the past 5 games. Ashanti Gold have the best run in the past 5 games, winning 4 and drawing 1. So they face off today at the Tamale Sports Stadium. Also, Ebusu Wanderers will take on Accra Great Olympics. Hearts of Oak, Brekum Chelsea.
In entertainment news this afternoon, 4 months after suffering a heart failure, actor Prince Yorson, aka Wache, says he is in excellent form and ready for more acting roles. The Chokotrotro actor has been speaking to TV3's entertainment reporter, Owusu Warai.
Prince Yorson was rushed to the hospital on March 3, 2016, over heart failure.
According to them, I came with low blood pressure. That was why the blood couldn't pump to the heart.
4 months on, this was Wache's way of telling the world that he's in very good health.
Oh, you are physically fit.
Wache, who is still on medication, revealed his condition has improved, adding he is looking up to God for total healing.
Okay.
I will say God loves me. God loves me more. Looking back, most stories I've heard about people who have suffered this ailment, they don't last. If I'm still alive, then it is God.
The Chokotrotro star, who was warned by doctors to abstain from sex, said he is agile and sexually active now.
Even a car, when it develops fault in the engine, it cannot perform. But it doesn't mean my manhood was seized. Now, every morning or every midnight, I feel it like 5 times before the sun rises. You see, which means it is alive. It's not the head like the way Agama lizard not the head.
The veteran actor said he is ready to take up acting roles, but will turn down womanizing and other roles that project him as a deviant.
Even in my situation, there were a lot of people who were calling, but then most of them too says they will wait until I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, that is watching for you. He says he's fit and he has evidence on his body to show that he's very fit. That's how we bring the bulletin to an end. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Thank you very much for watching. There is more news on our website, 3news.com. Good afternoon, and as always, stay positive. Bye for now.